So today we did quite a bit of this very informal introduction to standard library. And I know we're getting a little bit tired and everything, but and it's close to 6:10. But we have one more homework to worry about this semester, just one more. There will be, what I plan to do is that we attack this homework assignment for overloaded string operators based on the previous assignment of using strings. So I'd like to go over this a little bit today, and then of course next week we will combine the talk about kind of finish this conversation about standard library containers, especially looking at part 2 of these containers right here, because we've covered pretty much more than I was hoping to cover today, by the way, right? But before, and then we're going to have a final exam, which is going to be just another quiz-like exam done entirely online. But one more project, okay? And recall that we had a substring. We had a substring project where we said we can create a class which behaves like a little substring of an existing string, and it remembers a reference to that string, and it remembers its beginning and ending position, right? And it can be used in some situations. Part 2 of this assignment is, and by the way, all those recordings are posted already, so we've been able to make some good progress with that already by overviewing it. But the second part of it is that let's have our substring overload the operators, and those operators are so here's the thing: instructions, right? It's always good when you can rely on instructions. Bring back your substring project, okay, and add certain declarations. So let me do exactly what it says, right? Because I did some work with it already. So how about this? I just one of my favorite options, by the way, in Visual Studio is just to say close all documents. Right? So okay, file. Let me find this last week thing that we did with the first substring assignment. All right, so perhaps it's somewhere on D, CIS 255. Let me sort it by modification date. STL demo. Substring demo. Okay, so there it is. So this is the project I want to open. Okay, so again, the recording of that session was posted. You can review that. So substring demo solution open. All right, so it opens, and in this particular demo, again, I'll do the same thing. Window, close all documents. Just close everything. So in this particular prototype for substring assignment, we have created the main function. Of course, was doing something like this. All right, we created a substring class which defines some operations, and we can create a string, right, populated with some information. Then we can create a substring, grab the string, pass it to the constructor of our substring, which will happily take that, and we can do things with this with a substring, such as clear. We can basically say, give me a string, and print the string, right? Then we can say string2 is this, and then create another substring and specify positions from 4 to 7. Again, print what that substring is, and then even be able to replace something, and so forth. Fill the substring with certain characters, print that. So this is what we were able to demonstrate in that previous project. If I run it, it does some demo and be able to do some of these replacements and things. Again, we have this on record. It's posted. You can refresh this project. What happens is that I also have obviously the header file, right? So the header file, we were able to copy and paste most of it from the, if not entirely, I think it's in its entirety. It was downloaded from the handout for the assignment. And what we did was that we said, okay, to finish this class, we need to add reference to the string, keep track of the string all the time during the lifetime of our object of substring type, and keep track of the beginning and ending. The rest of this is just basically maintain those positions and occasionally update string if we're trying to replace something or change anything. Okay. So here we have this header file which defines all these functions that we said let's do them. Let's make sure that we have all these functions. Most of the implementation is also prefabricated by giving you the instructions of what to do. And again, that video covers it. So nothing to be scared about. It's not that bad at all, right? And I have already marked many things done in that demonstration. But the next stage is load this project, and it says here, add the following declarations to the substring header file. Okay, so starting from somewhere here, public friend, operators overloaded as member functions, assignments, merge, and some compare and some subscript. So implement these operators. Okay, copy and paste. Copy this, Control C, and paste it into my project. So in the header file, at the end of this header file, add this new stuff. One more time, Control C, copy and paste. Okay, so I will actually comment this as part 2, right? Part 2 overloaded operators. Okay, so done that with that older project of mine. Then it says, oh, by the way, besides those few things which must be implemented as member functions, and that's why we copied and pasted them inside of a class string, the rest of the operators that we want to overload are going to be overloaded as non-member functions. So step number 2, copy and paste this part, this whole part right here, Control C, and go back to the header file and paste it right here, right? So basically, this is why it's helpful to mark. When I define classes, I almost routinely do this. Just mark the endings of my classes. So if I did this earlier, this would be more, this would be easier. But this is the end of the class. So the rest of it is non-member functions, and we want to overload these operators. So this is the next challenge that we have. Okay, so well, guess what? The good news is that as we know, this program, using substring already compiles. Now, the work with these overloaded operators supposed to mean that to be able to implement all these operators, all we have to do is find already existing functions which can implement the operator. Basically, delegate work from the operator function to already existing member function. So that's the case. Now, how would I approach this in the next step? I would say, okay, so these are all member functions, right? So I just copied and pasted them as part 2. There's a friend here, but these are my so I can just take this with comments. Control C. This is my implementation file. right? So this is my implementation file, substring.cpp. Okay, so go to the bottom of this file and paste this in, right? Paste this in, and just use substring to define all this, right? All these are defined as members of the substring class, and these are member operators. So we do this, right? And then each function declaration becomes really function definition. So I apologize for such routine, and this is very typical of operator overloading. There's a lot of boring work associated with this. Trust me, this is just the way it is. Alright, so this is really boring, but it's so getting rid of these semicolons and just adding function bodies. So we need to finish this mundane and uninteresting part to be able to make sure that everything is in place, right? So hopefully we have these function definitions. Those functions don't return anything just yet, but maybe we'll get to that part. Once again, this is our last homework assignment, so I think it's okay if we don't finish conversation about this today, but essentially when we come back next week, we will come back with this, and you can even bring in your code and do some work here together with me, so we can finalize this. But today, oh, you know what? It's really a lot of recording there. Let's make